Welcome back to another video that's going to change your life. Now I'm very much in my cozy era. I've got my cushions around me, and the weather's getting worse in London. You guys know I'm recording my podcast at the same time, so subscribe to my podcast if you haven't. What are you doing? What are you doing? We're over there, we're changing our lives, a hub of self-mastery. We are in our meditation era, which should be an era that's for life. Follow if you want to change your life. So today I wanted to speak about self-betrayal. There were so many of you in my DMs after that video that I made on TikTok of self-betrayal. The feeling that heartbreak has passed, and what's left is the fact that you need to look into the mirror. And it's the hardest thing to do, but let me tell you now, you are in such an incredible place of healing. To be able to take accountability is honestly one of the last processes, I believe, of detachment. You have spent so much time blaming this person for where they have gone wrong, and now it's suddenly time for you to look at yourself. Where didn't you meet the mark? And most importantly, where did you ignore the red flags? And this can be a part of the healing stage that feels so incredibly difficult, because you start looking at yourself in not the best way. You start picking yourself apart. And if you're not careful, you're gonna stay there. And so I want to make this video, this podcast, to help you ladies out of this phase. You've got in it and you're doing the work, and now it's time to come out of it. So stay tuned if you want to know how to get to the other side of self-betrayal. Let's go. A lot of us women deal with the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is this idea where you've put time, money, and effort into a relationship, and a lot of us don't let it go because we've invested so much into that relationship. And what tends to happen when we lean on the sunk cost fallacy is the other person leaves, okay? Mainly because they can. Mainly because they haven't put as much as you've put into it. So leaving is not a loss to them. I want to acknowledge the fact that you've put so much into this person and into this relationship, and there is a lot of beauty in that. And I know that in this time you feel probably very stupid for doing so, because that's where accountability comes in. But it's time to reframe it and to think about, how do I grow from this? The very first step that I'm going to tell you, not to get to the other side of betrayal, but the very first step that I want you to carry through life is continuously assess how much a person invests into you. Time, money, and effort. These things are never going to be equal in a relationship. But as they always say, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 80-20. You do not want to be doing 80-20 consistently. A person who loves you is going to invest into you, because as I said, the fact is that when you invest into someone or something, you don't want to lose it. You're scared to lose it. So please, ladies, before you get into any kind of relationship, assess the investments. You're struggling to get to the other side of self-betrayal because you live with the consequences. These consequences may look like your body breaking down on you, okay? Your health becoming uncompromising, difficult to handle. These consequences may look like little humans, okay? Where you have to interact with this person periodically, or in a way that you don't want to, because you've had humans with this person. And I'm not talking about kids as a terrible consequence, because they are not, but some of us have been left with children. Or the consequences may just be that you have a low sense of self-worth, low sense of confidence, cannot trust yourself to make better decisions for your life. I need to let you in on a secret, ladies. The way that you get to the other side of self-betrayal, okay, is understanding that you are not that woman anymore. You're not her. Bear with me here, because this is a theory that I'm still trying to sort of work out. Because as women, it's our innate ability to nurture. I think sometimes we look at the woman that once was, your old life, that old person, as someone to nurture into this new life. No, you cannot bring her along. You can't have one step into your old life and one step into your new life. Ladies, you have to commit to moving forward. But I think there's this way of almost looking at the woman that you once were in that relationship as a distant relative, right? Her life is chaotic. Her life is not pleasing to me. But I can see her, and I know how much I've learned from her. And I can take that into the new life that I'm building, but I can't take her into the new life. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, there is no rebirth without death. She cannot come into the present, and she cannot come into the future. You're stuck on self-betrayal because you have not detached from her. It's not about detachment from him or them. You detach from them when you detach from her. I truly understand the feeling of being mad at yourself. How could I have done that? How could I have not seen that? But babe, you just didn't have the vision then. And you know what? That's okay. And maybe this pain just needed to happen. Maybe, you know, one thing about me, ladies, I will always reframe a bad situation. Okay, maybe you needed to come into contact with that person in order for you to grow into this person that you're meant to be. Maybe you were supposed to meet that person in order to teach you about investment in a relationship. Maybe you were supposed to meet and be with that person in order to fully see that new person. I often say, like, the angel that is my partner, you know, you guys know I love him so much, but the angel that is my partner, I wouldn't have seen him. I would not have seen who he was had I not experienced difficulty in my last relationship and the things that I experienced. I wouldn't have seen him. And it's about reframing that experience, ladies. What did my experience teach me? Let me let go of the fact that I didn't know better then and focus on the fact that I know better now. Okay, ladies, how you move on to the next step of getting out of that entrapment of self-betrayal is making yourself proud, making choices, making love choices, life choices, health choices that make sense to who you want to be. It's time to design your life in a way that starts to make sense. That means investing into yourself first. When I spoke about, you know, investment and how we invest into relationships, yes, do all of that. Invest into the person, time, money, and effort when they invest into you. But the very first person you should be investing to is you. You deserve that. Every relationship will flourish when you give yourself that love first. Invest into your dreams. Invest into your abilities. Invest. Make yourself so proud that you look at that woman that once was and you can't even relate to her. You don't know who she is. And how do we get there, ladies? Discipline. Making disciplined choices. That might be lifestyle choices, but let me tell you something that's very underrated, okay? Now, I champion therapy. I think therapy is an incredible tool, And especially when you're going through something, having that outlet is just so incredible, okay? But at some point, you need to stop talking. At some point, you have to stop speaking about who you were back then. Yeah. And this is why, like, after a period of time, I think it's important to pause therapy for a little while and see how you can navigate life by yourself, because there is also I'm gonna say it, some people also have anxious attachment to their therapists. Yeah. And the reality is, you have to navigate life alone. This is what therapy should be, is that you're given tools and you're given the space and you're given time to understand your feelings, but there comes a point where you have to live them. And that's why I believe that when you talk too much and you vent too much and you delve too much to a therapist, to a friend, when that time period is done, it can give life to where it's finished. You move past self-betrayal and you move closer towards your new life and your new self when you believe it. When you believe it and when you speak it. Now, ladies, I'm gonna tell you something, okay? The power of the tongue, right? When I was coming out of my old situation, my old relationship, our last year was very sporadic because I left, we broke up for a while, for like 9 months, came back together and he left. So it was very much like, it was very chaotic actually. But in that time that we were separated, okay, I would speak. You guys are gonna think you ladies are gonna think I'm crazy, but I would speak, I would pray, and I would, speak out as though I was cultivating a person into my life. I use no names. I'm gonna find a man that comes into my life that's going to appreciate me, that's going to see my worth, that's going to love me correctly, that's going to help me, with the children. And in my head, it's almost like I knew that I wanted it to be my ex at the time, but I used no names. And I'd done this for almost 9 months of my life, ladies, okay? I'm gonna think it's some kind of like majestic or like supernatural, but I believe it is, because, when we tried to make it work again and then he left, not 2 weeks later, and if you guys know the story of myself and my partner, he just popped up into my life. What I'm saying is, when I took my mind away from the fact that, everything was falling down and started to look and cultivate the good came to me. That is the power of the mind and the tongue. I believed that I was gonna get good. And so he just popped up. He just came out of nowhere. But this is just a learning lesson for you ladies, that at any moment you can change and shift your life, no matter if you were left, no matter if you betrayed yourself and you didn't see the red flags and you didn't listen to yourself. That happened. This is what's happening now. Let me change my life. There is always an opportunity to do so, but you've got to be active and you've got to be disciplined about it, ladies. Please visit my videos and watch my videos or listen to my videos on manifesting your dream life. I think these are the tools that will push you into that direction, but it's about letting it go. Understanding that life doesn't take unless there is something else in the distance. We have to pivot, ladies. When something happens, you take from it, you learn from it, and then you move into the next direction. You have to believe so much in yourself that life is written. This was supposed to happen in my life. Let me reframe it. Let me see what I can make of it. Let me see what I can do with this pain. Let me see if I can challenge myself to be this woman that I can see her already. I can see her, but I just need to walk closer to her, and it means that I need to walk out of that life. You've got this. I know you have. I'm pushing forward into meditation for the week, guys, and this one is about heartbreak. So please listen to this if you're struggling. If you're still struggling to move on from that heartbreak, listen to this intently and visualize intently. It's gonna change your life. I'll see you in the next one.